You recently announced exploration plans at Elizabeth with a focus on the Blue Vein. What areas specifically will drilling focus on at the Blue Vein?
With the Blue Vein, we have a total of 7 holes in the Blue Vein that we drilled last year. We've in those 7 holes, 3 of them are over 1 ounce per ton intersections. That establishes a high-grade mineralized zone in the southern part of the Blue Vein, which was all drilled from one pad of about 80 meters. So our plans for this year is to extend that on strike to the north. We'll cover about 200 meters in strike and hopefully extend that whole mineralized high-grade zone over that sort of 200 meters.
Will you also do step-out drilling from the historic resource in the Southwest Vein?
We're somewhat disappointed by some of the deeper holes we did last year. The structure is there, and one thing with these orogenic style mineral deposits, they do tend to pinch and swell in grades and structure. So some of these, talking about the Southwest Vein, these holes that were drilled, these veins are parallel. They're about 150 meters apart. So the holes that we are drilling on the Blue Vein, the 15 holes that I just discussed, many of those holes we extend those, and they're effectively a significant sort of step out to the Southwest Vein. So we'll get 2 intersections from some of those holes, Blue Vein and Southwest Vein. So it's efficient from that perspective.
There are several other veins on the property that have seen limited work. What are your plans for testing new areas on the property?
We've only really just begun to do the exploration on this project on Elizabeth. We have about 10,000 meters that we've drilled over the last little over a year. And so there's a total of 9 known identified veins on the property. We've done some exploration on the Southwest Vein. There's more upside there. We've just begun on the Blue Vein. And so this year as well, we're targeting the extensions of the main vein and the west vein, and watchers refer to our press releases and see the sort of maps for that. But those are currently undrilled, but there's historic trenching that was done 2004, 2006, with grades of over 50 grams per ton over 20 meters. So very, very strong results, and we're hoping to pick up the extensions of both those veins. So a very significant sort of upside in the overall program, and there's a lot more discoveries to go with the known veins that we have.
Orogenic vein deposits tend to have a large vertical extent. Are you planning any deeper drilling on the veins this year?
Elizabeth, orogenic deposits, they do tend to have a very large vertical extent. We've seen this at Braylorn, where the historical mining was completed down to over 2,000 meters below surface. So we've just started to scratch the surface at Elizabeth, down a couple hundred meters in depth. We'll continue to step out these holes and drill deeper. And for example, some of the holes we're drilling at the Blue Vein this year, as we just mentioned, will also provide us deeper intersections of the Southwest Vein. So it's an iterative process as we continue to deepen the vein system there.
Do you have any plans to do further exploration work at Blackdome?
Blackdome, we have done very little exploration work. We did a little bit of drilling in the one area at Blackdome in 2020 before moving to Elizabeth. We do plan to do more work at Blackdome. We have done some study on the alteration structure at Blackdome, and Blackdome is an epithermal deposit that has a defined vertical extent, so it's very important to understand where we are in the system. We believe we are high up in the system. Once we've done more review work or desktop work in terms of the alteration, we'll be planning some drill holes to target that. There is significant upside potential below the current workings, which is only mined for a small period of time. So we believe there is a lot of potential at depth at Blackdome. We just want to make sure we do the study work in advance and target the holes correctly.
What is the state of the Blackdome mill? What equipment could you use or salvage?
Well, Blackdome, the mill, which only operated for 5 years, and it's a fantastic piece of infrastructure, an all-weather, large foundations, a fully integrated mill with a processing and tailing storage facility. These are all fully permitted. We just had the tailings dam sort of inspected and the closure plan renewed for that. But over the past almost a year, we've been working with JDS and the Optimize Group out of Australia, specifically on what would the restart costs of this mill be, and what do we need to do to bring this back into operation. And the mill is in very good shape. It was put away properly in terms of the shutdown. So it enables it to bring it back into operation. We've had teams inspecting the mills. We've priced out the sort of capital and operating costs. We're very pleasantly, we believe it's very efficient in terms of the cost to restart that mill, and will give the project a significant competitive advantage, let's say, in compared to starting a greenfields project from scratch. So the numbers, we're finalizing the numbers over the next few weeks in this study, and we should be putting out a report that just sort of highlights the potential. We still need to get the resource, but once we have that mineable resource, there is a real fast track to production utilizing this existing mill. We've done metallurgical test work utilizing ore or core from Elizabeth, running it through the same process that's currently at the Blackdome mill. And the mill previously operated, it was gravity and a flotation concentrate. They didn't, and then they sold the concentrate. We're also looking at the potential of adding a leaching circuit, a back end, where we would produce 100% doré on site in an environmentally sustainable way. So it's early on with that, but we're basically ticking one of the boxes in the PEA work in terms of this the mill study we're doing, and I think it gives us quite an advantage for the project in terms of bringing it back into production quickly and cost efficiently.
The resource at Elizabeth is considered historic, even though it was NI 43-101 compliant. Do you need to do any infill drilling or twin holes within that resource area to make it current? When can we expect an updated resource estimate for the project?
Well, at Elizabeth, we have an inferred resource of 206,000 ounces. And we're saying it's not compliant because of the date of it, 2009. We have done the drilling we've done, particularly on the southwest vein. We believe will convert a lot of those ounces to a higher category, into an indicated category. So we feel that the infill drilling from the exploration stage, at least, has it will give us a good estimate certainly on the southwest vein and others. So we're looking at, we want to get, as I mentioned, we have 10,000 meters of drilling so far that Tempus has done at Elizabeth. We're doing about 8,000 meters this year, another 25 to 30 holes. That should give us sufficient to come up with an updated resource estimate. So by the time we finish the drilling in October, get all our assays in over the following few months, it's probably early in the new year we'd be looking to put out an updated resource on the project. And at Blackdome as well, there is an existing historical resource, about 75,000 ounces in a indicated and inferred category. So with the two of them, we're not updating the Blackdome resource yet. That'd be following further exploration work. But at Elizabeth, after this year's of drilling, we should have an initial sort of handle on the veins and a good estimate.
What are your relations like with the local community? Do you have agreements with the local First Nations?
Tempus has, I believe, done a very good job in the First Nations relationships. We have there's several bands that we work with relation to the projects, particularly at Elizabeth, with the Poison Band. It's called the Bridge River Band. We have an exploration agreement in place that takes us through the phase up until the sort of study phase for engineering study. And we work very closely. We have ongoing dialogue. We strive to include the members of the band as part of our operational team. And look, last year, over 50% of our workforce, we had about 13, 14 people on site during the drilling phase. Over half of them are people from the band. So we encourage training programs. They're involved in our environmental water sampling. The band has their own certification process for their members as well. So, we have the team is we got a number of people that are coming back again this year, and it works really well because we're happy. It enables us to have more trained workforce, good relationships, assists the local community. So it's very important. And recently, we just announced an agreement with a band called XFFN First Nations, which is they more associated with the Black-Dome area. And so a similar exploration agreement with them. And typically with all these agreements, there's a small percentage of the exploration expenditure that goes to the band. We try to work with them where the activities in terms of earthworks and road equipment and to provide contracts. So, I'd say we have good relationships, and Tempus has always moved forward on a consultation and consent basis, really, and recognizing the principles of the UNDRIP. So, I believe we have good relationships, and we strive to continue to build on those relationships with our partners.
What updates can you share on the projects in Ecuador? I understand you should have news out in the near future on the results from the Valle de Tigre sampling program.
We have the two projects, Valle de Tigre and Rio Zarza. About 30,000 hectares in Valle de Tigre and 10,000 hectares at Rio Zarza. They're in a very prolific area, fantastic neighborhood in terms of the majors. We have Lundin, Fruta del Norte, beside us at Rio Zarza. At Valle de Tigre, we previously did some geophysics, ZTEM. That identified a very strong, significant anomaly over 2 kilometers in length. Over the past year, in 2 phases, we've now gone in and taken a total of about 700 soil samples that we treated for by a mobile metal ion assaying technique, which is looking at parts per billion and really over this the geophysical anomaly. And so we're waiting for the results. We should have the results in the next week or two and be making an announcement. And, we think it looks very encouraging. We have been also progressing the drill permits. In Ecuador, there's quite a lengthy process and mostly involving water permits as a build-up to your drilling permits to establish an environmental baseline. So both these projects we have in Ecuador are effectively drill ready now. We've done all the preliminary groundwork, some geophysics, so some sampling. So we're in the next very good position to move those projects to the next phase.
Are you in discussions with other potential partners on the Ecuador projects?
What's interesting with the Ecuador projects, Rio Zarza, that's within a Lundin Newcrest joint venture area. So we've always had an ongoing dialogue with both those groups in looking at the projects. As we do more work, we have a number of interested parties that we talk to. We don't have any definitive sort of sales plan or process in place here. Let's see what we have out of the exploration first and see what the interest. But the focus of the company is very much on the BC properties. That is the focus. But Ecuador, the properties are hold a lot of sort of promise and upside in a very prolifically endowed mineral area for both copper and gold mineralization. So once we see the results, we saw strong copper and gold in our initial sort of assays at Valley de Tigre. We'll see what these results show and the interpretation of those, and go from there.